What is good, y'all? Welcome back to Chris and Rock Productions. As always, I am Chris. All right, so today I'm gonna be doing a video on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And the reason why I am setting this up this way is because earlier I was actually getting ready to do this video. What I plan on getting into is what we know about this movie so far, the lack of marketing, the reasons behind it, my expectations, and overall just how excited I am for this movie. Regardless of what people are saying, oh, we don't need this movie anymore, or who cares about this movie? Oh, it's not whatever. I still care about this movie. I love the first one. I absolutely love the first one. So as I'm setting up and I'm getting ready, I look at my phone and listen like 5 minutes ago, I was like, oh my god, they just dropped the teaser for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Finally, we're what? September 10th. Movie comes out what? December 20th? Not that long from now. And they're finally giving us marketing. They have yet to give us a poster. The only thing that we had that we've been clinging on for the last 2 years is that DC fandom footage that they released, that behind the scenes footage where it just showed them filming. And I honestly, I am excited for this film. If you've seen our videos from late last year and earlier this year, Aquaman is my second most anticipated movie for 2023. Number one was Guardians, and I absolutely love Guardians. I'm wearing my Cosmo shirt. But the reason why I'm super excited for this movie, regardless of what's hovering around it, the issues, is it canon? Is it chronologically going to make sense? This, and all that. For me, I just love the first one. I Aquaman is my second favorite DCEU movie after the Suicide Squad, and I, I think the reason being is just because how comic booky it feels. I know that's not the correct terminology, but it just feels like just splash faces thrown on the film on the screen. Excuse me. Black Manta, absolutely love Black Manta, and Jason Momoa. I think he's killer as Aquaman. But before we get further into what my thoughts on it, I want to do this teaser reaction. I haven't seen it. It's only 30 seconds. I know I'm sure I'm gonna get hyped within those 30 seconds, but let's go ahead and get into it. All right, in three, two, one. In 4 days. Oh, the trench. Oh, the king. Okay. Orm.
I'm gonna kill Aquaman and destroy everything he holds dear.
That's the is that oh wow. Oh my gosh, yes, dude.
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Super short. Like I said, 30 seconds. All right. So it looks like uh Arthur Curry, his dad Thomas Curry, looks like his house is gonna get blown up, probably like Black Manta. So that's from the comics. We know that there's some issues with Thomas Curry and Black Manta. Two, we see it looks like the throne, Aquaman's throne, has been destroyed. So that's interesting. And the third part, okay, we also saw what else did we see? Who else did we see? Atlanta, we saw Atlanta, we saw her fighting. That's gonna be interesting to see her in action. We saw her in action in the beginning of Aquaman, which I think is one of the best opening action sequences in DC. I absolutely love that fight sequence. So we're gonna see her more, and as well as the more comic accurate Black Manta suit. Um, him and Jason Momoa, him and Arthur Curry are gonna be going at it. I love that rivalry so freaking much. So my overall thoughts on this teaser is I think so obviously it's just a teaser to the trailer. The trailer drops on Thursday. So I know what video we're doing on Thursday, so that's exciting. But also I just want to see this movie already. Well, the way it looks, just based off of the CG, it looks like the first one, which I enjoy, which I really like. It looks polished, especially that sequence where Black Manta and Arthur Curry are having their tridents, smash against each other. Um, but yeah, I think it looks great right there. I can't base off this movie off of this movie's what's gonna be what 2.5 hours long. I can't base it off of 30 seconds. I can't be like, oh my god, this is gonna be the greatest DC movie ever. Or I can't, or at the same time, I can't do the opposite. Oh, this looks like crap. It looks like it's gonna be horrible. off of 30 seconds, and a good amount of that 30 seconds was just the title of Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. So that's pretty much what I wanted to get into for this teaser. Let's go ahead and get into what we know about Aquaman. So let's start off with the basics. So we know that this film is supposed to release December 20th. And I keep saying supposed to, it's not getting delayed. I think it had its fair share of delays. So we know it was supposed to come out what was it? December of 2022. That was the original release date. And then it got delayed to March of 2023, which was earlier this year. And then it got delayed to December of 2023, which is in a few months. So we know that this movie has had a bunch of delays. And let's go ahead and let's get into those reshoots. So normally a film has what? Every film nowadays has reshoots. Especially the big budget films. Marvel has reshoots all the time. Even for the movies that are successful, they have reshoots. It's just part of production. It happens. Aquaman has gone through 4 sets of reshoots. The most recent one was appointed by James Gunn and Peter Safran. Peter Safran is the producer of this film. He produced the first one. So we know that this story has gone through a variety of changes. And let's also go into what the story is about. Without no spoilers, I've been avoiding spoilers myself, but this is from the words of Jason Momoa himself and the director James Wan. That the film is about climate change and what we do, what society does to its waters, and how we've dumped trash into the oceans, how and now this movie's going to be about the repercussions of that. So I'm curious how that and the Black Manta storyline take place with one another, and what's the repercussions for that? Because Black Manta is constantly trying to take down Atlantis, but this story is going to focus on Earth's impact, at least the land's impact on the ocean. So I wonder how those two stories are going to blend. I think it's going to be Arthur Curry's his motive is to, to get, to clean the oceans and the waters. And the Black Manta story is he wants to kill Arthur Curry or destroy him in Atlantis. What else do we know? We know that the main cast is coming back. Orm, Aquaman. I like how I started with Orm first. Orm, Aquaman, Mira, Amber Heard. We'll get into Amber Heard in a little bit. Black Manta, Arthur Curry, Atlanta, James, not James. What's his name? Randall Park. What's his name? What was his name in the movie? I don't remember. Um, so we know those characters are coming back, and there are some comic book characters that have been shown on castings, but I don't want to get into those because I don't want those to be spoilers. And you're probably thinking, I don't care. I mean, I care. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's as invested as I am. So I'm not going to get into characters that have been shown in castings that they have yet to talk about at all. And they've done little talking. Let's go ahead and get into that. That's a nice segue. Good job, Chris. The lack of marketing. Why is that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why they haven't been marketing this movie. It comes out in December. So Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is officially now the shortest time between trailer and release date in DC, movie history. This is the shortest time there's ever been between a trailer and the actual movie being released. So that's very curious. The studio has faith in this movie because they keep doing reshoots. If they didn't have faith, they wouldn't keep doing reshoots, if that makes sense. The most recent one was about a month ago. Think about that. It was maybe a little over a month ago. No more than 3 months ago for sure. It was not that long ago when they did these reshoots. So why do they keep pumping money into the film, but they're not marketing it? That's what I'm confused about. Honestly, I get right now because of the strikes. Maybe that's why. But you would do the opposite. If you can't have Jason Momoa promote this movie, then you're going to be pumping up promotions. You're going to be pumping up promos. You're going to be pumping up posters. You keep doing pop ups. You're going to keep having influencers on them do the promotion and the marketing for you. Why aren't you doing that yet? I don't know. I really don't. Yeah, we're in September. The movie comes out in December, so we have October, November, and then the majority of December because it comes out late December. So that's 2.5 months of marketing for these big budget movies like the Marvel and the DC movies. Around like a month and a half is whenever they go strong into the marketing, but they haven't done a single lick of it. They just did the teaser, which was today, September 10th, and they just finally released that teaser. So I'm very curious about that. Now they're going to start wrapping up the marketing. Um, and how is that going to affect the movie? Especially, let's talk about some things that are going to affect the movie. Let's talk about Amber Heard. I'm not going to get into the logistics of what came of that whole trial and all that. We all followed it. That's not the point of this video. I don't want to get into that. I just want to talk about the effect of what Amber Heard may have on this movie because of all that stuff that's happened the last couple of years. Me personally, I'm speaking for myself, Chris. When I've gone back and rewatched Aquaman so many times, even after the whole trial and all that, when I see Mira, I sometimes do like it does kind of bring me out of the movie. Like, oh, that's Amber Heard. It does. I'm just being honest with you. I am. But then a couple of minutes into it, I'm like, okay, that's Mira. And then I just get invested into that character because I think Mira's a really well written character, especially in the comics and that Flashpoint comic. Oh my god, she's really well written, and I think in the first movie, her character has some development, and you get invested into her character. So there is a plot point that was talked about at CinemaCon earlier this year that was leaked by people who saw their teaser because there was a teaser that released for the critics back in CinemaCon. That was what April, May. That was a long time ago. I don't want to get into that plot point. I don't. I read about it a while back. I don't want to get into it. I may have done a YouTube short on it, but you could find that on a channel somewhere. So I wonder how the general public are going to, perceive her being in this movie. For me personally, at first I'm gonna be like, "Oh, look, there's Amber Heard," and then immediately, a few minutes once I get lost into the story, I'm just gonna be like, "That's Mira." Who knows? Maybe when she first comes onto the screen, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, look, that's Mira," and I'm not gonna think anything of it. Every person has their different ways of separating the art from the artist. Me personally, I'm just gonna watch the movie and just enjoy the cast and all that and the performances. So that's my thoughts on the whole Amber Heard thing. Did I walk the fence? Probably. But I don't really have a strong opinion on the whole situation. I genuinely don't. I just wanted to just talk about what the perception of that. Uh, what else do we know about this movie? Uh, that's pretty much the majority of what all we know. Just the casting, obviously, the release date, the premise about the oceans, the effects of the lack of marketing, and what I think it's going to do for this film. Oh, I guess the last thing I actually wanted to get into, I just reminded myself, will it hit $1 billion? I don't think so. There's a couple of things. Do I think it's gonna be because of the lack of marketing? I think yeah. I think it may be due to that. Will they blame it all on that? Probably. Well, I think it's because comic books are going through a change in terms of, you know, the consistency of great comic books. Yeah, I think it's going through a change. We're not having as consistent great comic book movies, especially post Endgame. Post Endgame, like Endgame until now, the comic book movie genre has shifted and changed. And I think not every movie is as great as it used to be. And I think that's going to affect it as well because Aquaman came out December 2018, or a little bit before Endgame, a couple months before Endgame. So the whole world was hyped on the comic book genre. There was no quote unquote comic book fatigue, which I don't believe comic book fatigue exists to a degree. I think it's just fatigue of poor writing and poor storytelling. Um, there was no fatigue for No Way Home. There was no fatigue for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. You know, it's just poor story writing that I think is hurting a lot of these other comic book movies. So will I think it hit a billion? Would I want it to make $1 billion? Yes, because I love this movie. I like the Aquaman movie. And I love this franchise. Do I think it will? I don't think so. Well, I think now the other question is it gonna bomb? Genuinely speaking, I don't think it's gonna bomb. I was wrong about Flash bombing. I thought Flash was gonna do great. It did the opposite. It's the biggest bomb in DC history. Shazam, I thought Shazam did what it was gonna do, not make its money back. Blue Beetle, same thing. I've done a bunch of videos on Blue Beetle the last few months. I had a feeling it's making its money back. I don't know what the marketing budget is on it, but it has made its budget back, and then some. So that's great. That's good. That's great for that film. I wasn't expecting that movie to make 500 million, 600 million. But in terms of the lack of marketing and what's going on with the strikes and all that, it was you could have saw it from a mile away what was going to happen to that film. So the movie comes out in December. So are the strikes going to be resolved by then? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. I don't have any inside information. I don't. I'm just a small YouTuber, so I wouldn't know if there's any updates on the strikes in terms of internal negotiations. So we'll see what happens. This movie needs Jason Momoa to promote the movie. It really does because he's a star. He's an A-list star. He's a big name. He's a box office draw. He was the best thing about Fast 10. I didn't even see Fast 10. Um, so I think you need Jason Momoa to promote this movie. You need him to do it. So I'm curious how that's going to end up happening. Maybe are they going to get a waiver to let them promote this movie? I don't know. Will the actors agree on that? Who knows? And hopefully the strikes are over with by then. Hopefully the strikes are over by tomorrow, but I doubt it. But we shall see. But guys, that is pretty much everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my quick reaction to those that 30-second teaser because Thursday is the full trailer. So check that out. Subscribe, turn on those notifications. I think notifications work on YouTube because we will do a reaction to that. Ralph and I, we were talking about Aquaman earlier today and yesterday because we're excited for this movie. We really are. So as always, guys, I am Chris. Until next time, peace.